Hey, and welcome back to AWitchAlone's podcast. I'm your hostess Danielle, and we'll be finally finishing off the mini-series on the tools of the trade by listing off the extra altar items you can have either on your altar or at least within reach of your ritual. The previous episodes went through tools that you should consider adding to your witchcraft arsenal to make your rituals, spells, and workings easier. But there are so many other tools and items that could be added to your altar for a variety of different reasons. Add everything or none of these things to your practice if you would like. A bowl of water. Bowls of water can be used on your altar to help you connect with this element. You can also use this water for cleansing, as water is a great element for this, as it is considered to be washing away. Bowl of salt. Salt on your altar can be used to help you connect to the earth element, but as well for general protection. White salt is a staple in protection charms for its pure quality. You can use pinches of salt in protection spells or sprinkle it around your circle for extra protection during rituals and spell casting. Candles of various colors. If you can, having an arsenal of different colored candles on hand will help you with your spells. Not that it's bad if you only use white or black candles, as they are multi-purpose, but it's nice every once in a while to be able to pull out a purple candle for psychic spells or a green candle for good luck or money spells. If you stock up on them whenever you can, you'll never have to worry when you decide or have a need to cast. Plus, if you always buy the same type of candle, you'll know exactly how long it will take to burn, which can be helpful when casting candle spells. A spirit candle. Some witches, like myself, will keep a white pillar candle on their altar to help them connect to the general spirit of their practice, or as a focal point. This isn't necessary, especially if you have specific deity candles. Deity candles or figurines. These are pretty self-explanatory, but they are figurines or candles that are associated with your deity of choice. These can be lavish figurines, or they can be printouts of your deity. As much as I would love figurines of my own, the only ones I've been able to find that I really like run close to $100 each, and I just can't justify that at this time. So for now, I just have candles, crystals, and herbs associated with my deities that I light every day. A bell. There are a few great ways to clear space, and a lot of times people go to smoke cleansing. It's quiet, it smells good, and it does make you feel inherently witchy when you're first starting. But what if you can't use smoke where you are? Bells are a great way to cleanse a space, and they are just as fun to use. I've been able to find a bell in every secondhand or antique store I've gone into. If you can't find a physical bell, you can also find a bell sound on YouTube, I'm sure. It's the sound reverberations that help cleanse a room, not necessarily the actual sound. But having a continuous sound can also help you focus your intentions. So by dinging the bell in a rhythm, you can get into the groove of casting. Scrying mirror. Scrying mirror is a mirror of dark glass and is used as a means of divination, or as the name suggests, self-reflection. This would be something that if you have it on your altar is probably your main type of divination, or at least one you use more often than not. If you do have one, it is integral that you keep it covered except when in use. A candle snuffer. There's a thought process that blowing out a candle can be seen as damaging the spell or the magic, as well as if you have loose herbs around the candle or on your altar, blowing out the candle may make a mess when the herbs go flying. So having a candle snuffer on hand can be very handy. It also helps with keeping the smoke under control when putting out the flame. A mortar and pestle. This doesn't have to be on your altar, but having it close during rituals and spells is good for when you need to crush your herbs. What, you mean you don't always have your mortar and pestle on hand? I mean, you'd think I would, but since for the longest time I put away all my tools after rituals, sometimes I would forget to bring it back out. So leaving it on your altar or at least near it is always good just in case. Now, I always butcher this next word, so bear with me. Sachets and cloths, like those little bags. These are good to have on hand for your spells, even if you already have some close because you know you're going to use them. Extras are good just in case you miscalculate a size or write the wrong sigil or it rips or something like that. And a marker. I keep a specific marker for writing sigils and symbols that is only for magical purposes. This again isn't kept on the altar physically, but kept nearby for during workings. This can also be the same writing utensil you use for your Book of Shadows or your grimoire. And a needle and thread. These are good to keep close for when you're working with the aforementioned cloths, either for making poppets or charm pillows, etc., etc. They're good for physically putting things together or actually sealing it, like a dream pillow or something like that. A lot of these things don't necessarily need to be on your altar, but could be in a box or shelf nearby for quick use. I use one of those crafting organizers for my altar supplies so that it can fit under the table I use, as well as being organized and away from prying eyes and hands, especially if you have little hands around. That brings us to the end of this episode. This will be a whenever I get to a podcast, although I will try to get back to doing it bi-weekly or at least monthly, so make sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on. Next time we will be discussing the year and a day practice. This episode was brought to you by the tarot card Strength. The Strength card is the 11th card in the Major Arcana, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Usually depicting a lion somewhere on the card, it reminds you that you have all the strength within you, and don't be afraid to let out your inner wildcat. Let the world hear your voice and trust in your inner strength. The lion doesn't waver, it knows it is strong. Channel that energy. If you're on Instagram, come find me under the same handle, AWitchAlone, and if you follow, make sure you say hi. I love meeting new followers. Until next episode, blessed be.